Hi, Ms. Purnama. How are you doing today?
Good, wonderful. Thank you so much, Ashvika. Lovely
Thank you
to
so
be
much
here.
for coming on our show. So, Ms. Purnama is a specialist in hormonal balance and she works with mental health and well being very closely. How that relates and how that correlates to physical issues in your body.
Yeah, so I believe in the concept of working with the body, mind, and soul. As much as people work on 80% diet and 20% exercises, my understanding is that 80% of diet and 20% of exercises will work when we touch the root cause of the issue. Most of the times, even till today, the root cause is not touched, and that is where I found my space of when you work on that root cause of why that issue exists, everything else is taken care of. And for that matter, be it thyroid, PCOD, PCOS, diabetes, while they might look at symptoms on the blood report with the numbers changing here and there, it has a lot to do with the person that she has gone through something in the form of stress, trauma, triggers, ages back, which is now reflecting in the blood report. So that's how it is all connected together, Ashvika.
Right. So we at Ashvika Foundation also have a mind, body, and soul campaign.
Ah,
Right. Where we work on holistic development.
yeah.
How important do you think holistic development is in maintaining all aspects of life? Like a lot of people I know are like, okay, the mind's important or the body's important, one or two aspects rather than all three. So how do you think that plays into our daily lives?
Yeah, so I think when people tend to choose only one of the three, that is where the concerns of sustainability, consistency comes into picture. I have hundreds and thousands of women who come and tell me that, Purnima, I'm not consistent. It is not sustainable. I do lose 15 kgs, 20 kgs, but then everything comes back in 3 months or 4 months timeline. So when we work on all the three aspects of that mind, body, and soul, we are actually holistically working on the transformation or the overall well-being of that individual. So it is important, and I would, the more I emphasize, the more the importance needs to be laid that you need to focus on the entirety of the body, mind, and soul rather than just working on one part and thinking it would fix the issue.
Right. What is something you think people don't understand about depression or going into self isolation? What is like a misconception around it?
Yeah, so I will give my own example for that matter. So I did 2 times, is what I would say, have experienced it. One was, of course, postpartum, which was after my delivery, and then there was a lot of this gender issue that I had. So we had wanted a girl child, and then it was second one also boy. Very blessed and grateful today. But at that point in time, with the hormones that I was going through, the shifts that were happening, it put me into that postpartum depression. So at that point in time, I didn't know what to do. I always felt like crying. I felt like detaching from my child, not being able to connect with the child, and did not find a way or an outlet to let it out. So when people think about it, one, there is not much of awareness, Ashvika, to be very honest.
Right.
Yeah, so very, very few people understand even now that there can be something called as PPD, postpartum depression.
Right.
What they think is, or what they have been taught probably is, all right, after pregnancy, hormonal changes happen. Yeah, you do feel ups and lows, but it is important for the proper diagnosis. And once proper diagnosis happens, a proper plan needs to be laid. It is not okay for the person to just isolate themselves, because that will only worsen the situation.
Right.
Rather than having someone to speak to, reaching out to someone whom you can confidentially discuss few things. It can be an immediate family, a friend, a therapist, a counselor. You can use journaling as your way of letting it out. You can use different meditative practices to go to the root of, again, those depressive moments of what is keeping an individual there, and then allowing themselves to come out of it. So the misconception that which you had asked about, Ashvika, is probably depression can only happen after postpartum, or cannot happen to young children, kids, can happen only after a certain age. I think everybody is prone to, given the world that we currently are in.
Right. Coming on to the youth, what advice would you give these young children about their mental and physical well-being? Like you said, meditation, journaling, that's something we can do. But is there a way, like you know how we say a get a quick fix.
Yeah.
Is there
Yeah.
something you can do in like 15 minutes when you're on the go or you're just feeling a little low?
Yeah.
Something like that?
Yeah. Very important to step out.
Okay.
Something which many of us don't do these days, right? We wake up with this and sleep with this, even body with this for that matter. But you're very important to step out because nature has its magical ways of bringing in that alignment.
Right.
Very difficult, but I think a quick 10-minute, 15-minute, either a sunlight early in the morning or being with the nature, going to a place if there is ocean and beach, and then, grounding yourself with Mother Earth plays miracles, Ashvika.
All right, great. What do you think, like depression, how does it affect someone's mental well being, and what can it manifest itself in the physical sense?
Yeah. So it can have different ways of how it shows up. See, depression is still a taboo word, according to me, even till date, for whatever reasons. Now, that said, in terms of it manifesting in physical ways, I have seen women emotionally eating, binge eating, not wanting to do any physical activities, any chores, always wanting to lie on the couch, sleep, crying a lot. And that would mean when they put themselves into, when they find that pleasure in eating because they think that is their source of happiness, it is very obvious that, the weight source, there are other hormonal imbalances that which would naturally happen in a woman's body and can also lead to other diagnosis in terms of, for how long the woman is going through and what might be the reason behind it, can lead to other hormonal imbalances and diagnosis through medical reports as well, Ashvika.
Right.
Yeah.
So, Ms. Purnima, how do you think stress, if we
Yeah.
talk about stress as a word, or anxiety, it's thrown around very loosely now in our day and age.
Yeah.
But what is like the root of it? I would ask. Stress and anxiety. Where does it come from? How does it feel for a person to actually feel anxious or have those panic attacks?
Yeah. So it might sound rude, but I think we play a major role in how we are allowing ourselves to feel stressed
100%.
and how we allow ourselves to be in the situations which can cause that anxiety, palpitations, etc.
Yeah.
Now, I know for a reason that there can be circumstances that are beyond our control, and I do respect such people who are going through domestic violence, people who are going through different abuses in relationships, who are going through tremendous phenomenal workplace stress. But Ashvika, I would say we do have some control over it for ourselves. Now, when we put ourselves in those situations, we tend to get lost as well. Things get way too monotonous. Things get into that vicious circle of, oh yes, stress is inevitable in these days. That's what we keep telling ourselves.
Right.
And I agree with that. Like, I'm a mother of 2 young children. I work full time. I still do what I do in the form of health coaching. And I know that even I go through stress. But I think we have to identify those strategies and ways of how we can detach ourselves from that stress. And one phenomenal practice that I have seen that helps me, even if it means it's for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes. In fact, 2 practices is one is I probably vouch in many places is the box breathing technique that I do.
Right.
And the second definitely is detaching myself from it and grounding myself to Mother Earth, which is probably in a way meditation as we call it as. You don't have to do it for long. A 5 to 7 minute will start to give you shifts that which will allow you to continue at a later time.
Right. So you've gone from having medications
Yeah.
to now being medication free.
Yeah.
What was that process? I mean, it's honestly inspiring because I think in today's day and age, all of us take medicines, be it vitamins itself,
Yeah.
but we're having so much external product in our bodies
Yeah.
that it eventually harms us as well. So, what's your take on that?
So I was taking thyroid medication for a good 5 years
Okay.
with an effort every single day to identify how can I go off it. And that was sown in my mind in such a way as a seed that any person I would meet, and if I knew they are on thyroid medication, I would be like, what are you doing to come out of it? They're like, I'm not doing anything. My doctor said I have to take it for long. I will take it for lifelong, probably. I'm like, that's not the way. Your body has the ability naturally to be able to function in its best capacity.
Right.
Now, if there is a dysfunction, we need to understand the root cause. And this is where, with the body, mind, and soul, that which I was talking about, we take the individuals to the root cause. So, for me, it was important that I identified why I was diagnosed with hypothyroidism. And when I got myself to a place where that diagnosis happened through meditation, through root cause analysis, it only took me 21 days to reverse it. And with the support of my GP or doctor, I was able to bring myself off the dosage after 5 years. So, see, supplements like my multivitamins, minerals are all might be needed, given we are in an era where, again, like I said, we don't get much sunlight. So, vitamin D is in all-time low. But I think otherwise medications which are required for hormonal health and well-being, we can very well look at if our body has the ability to reverse it and then take that natural step.
All right. So you work towards finding alternatives for these medicines, right? What do you think for thyroid or for PCOS?
Yeah.
What would be those get health foods that you would say superfoods?
Yeah.
Would be there for these type of issues.
Yeah, so for me, the superfood is the thoughts. That is what I would put it as. I'm not going to be putting it as, oh, then go and get yourself a good millet or a jowar or bajra. We all know about it. What we don't know is that the thought that is sown as a seed in our mind has a direct impact on our gut, which is called the second brain. And then it creates havoc with the microbiomes in the gut and the toxicity it gets released. And then the thoughts and the chronic stress that the individual goes through, going back to the stressors, traumas, triggers, our body energetically has chakras, Ashwika,
Right.
and then womb being a very creative portal, creative energy, feminine energy, sensuality, etc. That's a place where most of the emotions get stored. So a woman coming to me with PCOS, PCOD definitely asks me, what foods do I eat? What foods do I avoid? I'm like, we'll keep the nutrition aside because that is not what our major focus is. Our focus is about what seed of thoughts are going in. Where did it all start? What actually started that PCOD, PCOS for you, how long back it started, and then we work from that space to ensure that any external things like, adjusting food, exercises, that can be done. But if the actual root cause isn't attended, there's no point in using the superfoods to fix things.
All right. What transformations do you hope to see in yourself? Because mental health is a journey, right?
Yeah.
Healing itself is a journey.
Yeah.
It's something that cannot be done in like 2 minutes or in a day.
Yeah.
It takes years on end.
Absolutely.
So, if I were to ask you in 18 months, how do you see yourself? What changes do you see in yourself?
I think I would love to be more aligned and channelized with what goals I set and further detach from the outcomes.
Okay.
Because it's so important is what I realize. Otherwise, the outcomes can play a huge role in how I work towards that goal or how I look at that goal. So I would love to have proper goals, channelized effort, but detach myself from those outcomes. That is what I see as my growth towards where I need to be.
Right. What tools can we apply as a woman, as youth, that can help us internally, you said thoughts are what impact us. So how do we change those thoughts? What's a pattern that we might need to break? How do we figure that out?
Yeah. So again, going back to probably I will touch upon that root first of understanding where it's starting. Let me give an example of one of my clients who had a very abusive childhood. So for her, the environment at the home wasn't great. The mom and dad always fought with each other. And that was instilled in her brain from childhood that probably in a marriage, a husband and wife would always be like that. Growing up 20 years later, the girl also had a marriage wherein the relationship was chaotic because she has always seen it. That is what she has portrayed in the relationship or attracted unknowingly. Now, for such a person, that leads to severe stress, chronic stress, meaning again binge eating, meaning again it leads to probably a PCOD, PCOS, or anything depending on how her body is vulnerable depending on her energetic chakras. Now, once she understands that where it starts, which is what the childhood, we work on inner child healing.
Right.
So, understanding what that inner child is going through. So, there are practices that we give for inner child healing or radical self love, how we can shower ourselves with that self love, understanding those energetic knots and blocks. So, these are all very subtle practices. They might not show you immediate loss on the weighing scale,
Right.
or might not show you immediate shift in inches, but what it will show is that the inner work is being done, which obviously is going to reflect in the outside world.
Right. So I myself have gone to one of these courses, and we did inner child healing. We did a little bit of release work,
Yeah.
and we also did this mirroring exercise, which
Yeah.
was mirroring affirmations.
Yeah.
So it was it was extremely hard
Yeah.
looking at
Right.
myself and saying good things
Yeah. Yeah.
to myself.
Yeah.
Why do you think that is? Like, what is holding us back from being brave or confident in our own selves?
Yeah, and that comes from probably childhood social conditioning. We can tell I love you to pets, to parents, to brothers, sisters, partners, husbands, etc. But we have never been probably even taught to appreciate who we are, how we are, and that always needed validation or justification. We want someone else to say who we are, how we are, versus we can never tell ourselves that, oh, I look beautiful. Start looking in the mirror. And those are one of the things that I get my clients to do as well, Ashwika.
Okay.
Of, look at yourself in the mirror and say, I love you. And they're like, Purnima, you must be kidding. I'm like, no, I'm not kidding. You need to. So, that those ways, it comes from childhood where the patterns are formed, and things which are uncomfortable for us becomes, social stigma at the end of the day that, oh, no, I cannot care for myself. I cannot tell I love you to myself. I cannot appreciate myself, but I can appreciate the entire world around me. So that is the reason I believe is why it is so difficult for us.
Right.
Yeah.
Let's talk about your book. So
Sure.
your book focuses on how to reset your hormones, how
Correct.
to get that kick that we're missing,
Yeah.
that push to
Yeah.
start.
Yeah.
So what would you say about your book? What is something people must know?
Yeah, so the book is in a very simple layman language.
Okay.
I think it was very intentionally done that way. So the book is, the intention behind the book was not to make it bestseller, international bestseller. No, it was about reaching households, reaching multiple lakhs or crores of households, and it is a weekend read. I have been told by women that you can actually read it through weekend and then start implementing, because it's not just a fiction or a novel. I have given steps of what you can do, challenging questions asking you after every chapter, that which the individual can actually implement and start to see shifts. And it also comes with a lot of resources in terms of, we give away free meal plan, we give away meditation practices, we give away workouts in this book, so that people are able to actually incorporate, rather than thinking, oh, this is just another book, I'll read it and then place it in my shelf, or, it's somewhere in the dust.
Right.
Yeah.
What is one or two steps, if you can share with us, about that's written in your book, about healing before you start, thinking about leaving your medications or actually going on that path?
Yeah. So whoever, again, like giving an example, giving my own example of, I started taking medication for thyroid in 2015, November. So in 2020, when I was looking back, so I asked myself some challenging questions. What was happening in your life at the time when you were diagnosed with thyroid? This can be for the audience as well, if they are going through thyroid, PCOD, PCOS. What was happening in my life when I was diagnosed with DASH? Dash to be filled with any of the ailments that they are currently going through. Now they need to close their eyes, keep an alarm for 3 minutes, and then allow themselves to go back to that time. And I say 3 minutes because more than that, we will go for a toss. The brain will not allow us to stay focused. We need something else. So in that 3 minutes, it will work as a magic, literally taking you back to that time. This is what had happened. For me, it was more about the chronic stress I was going through at my workplace, something HR case that was running against my name. So that is what triggered my thyroid gland, and that is what triggered my TSH levels to spike. Now, it took me 5 years to understand that was the reason why my TSH had soared high. And when I realized that, I worked on letting go of what it is that I was going through, again with the practices of healing inner child, radical self-love, releasing energetic knots and blocks. And in 21 days, with the support of my GP, I was able to come off those medications. So I think this is one practice which anyone can do who is watching us today, of going back to that time, contemplating on that question, 3 minutes of alarm, and then thinking through, writing about it, and then working, if they are able to by themselves, or reaching out with the support that they require, so they're able to bring themselves off where they are.
Right. So you spoke about triggers,
Yeah.
something that triggers you to go into that state.
Yeah.
How do you think one can manage those triggers? Because I think for a lot of us, for me personally as well, there are some things that I don't know why, but they trigger me.
Yeah.
Now, when I'm looking back, I have some issues maybe internally, but how do I stop myself from feeling attacked on every trigger, or feeling like it's targeted towards me?
Yeah, so it is important to again understand what is the first episode that started as that trigger.
Okay.
Right? It is like a chain of pearl.
Okay.
Ek moti, when we remove, everything else falls off.
Okay.
So all that is piling up for you, that first one needs to be removed for you. So important that when whatever is triggering, let's say randomly, let me give you an example. Again, I would love to give an example of myself. So in childhood, when I was raised by my parents, it was about to be extremely disciplined. I need to be extremely disciplined. I need to listen to my parents. So that is something that has been imbibed in my DNA, literally. So for me, if my kids wouldn't listen to me earlier, it is like, you have to listen to me. Mm-hmm. See where the strings are coming from.
Right.
That is how the child has to be. But then I learned that how I was raised, I don't have to copy that as a parent to my children. My kids can have their way of thinking, they can have their own voice, and it is important in this generation again that I listen to them of what it is they want to say, so that I'm able to address it accordingly. So the moment I had that awareness of where this was coming to me from, of how I was raised in the childhood, I think that helped shift. So anybody, for you also, if something is triggering, go back to identify when was the first instance. Okay. And that will come from detachment only, Ashvika, right? We are way too attached to several things. When we detach from that situation and think, okay, this is triggering me, let me go and examine where the first instance is. And you will be guided to that first instance when you learn to detach and think from those lines.
So I need to look at a scenario as a third person.
Absolutely. As an eagle's eye view.
Right.
Yeah, as an eagle's eye view, look at it that, all right, I'm flying here and this is happening. It has triggered me. Where is it taking me? Why did it trigger me? Ask yourself those contemplating questions. And when you do that and go back to that space of when it all started, you will understand your trigger point.
Okay. So your transformation has helped over 18,000 people.
Yeah.
And what is, if you can share, one of the most surprising transformations that you've seen?
One of the most surprising transformations. I wouldn't mind calling mine own very surprising, because for years together, I was in that 90 kgs with thyroid medication, with so many ailments. I had ankylosing spondylitis, which is called autoimmune disease. Yeah. I was going through postpartum depression. And at one point in time, after supporting my mom with her ailing illness of cancer, when I went back to Australia, I was almost diagnosed to be clinically depressed. So I think between the age of 28 to 32, I have seen so many ailments in my own body that today where I am my own biggest surprise of how I have been able to manage it all, reverse it all, and most importantly, create a global platform with more than 200K followers and transform so many lives.
Wow, that's honestly so inspiring, and it's amazing that you're helping a lot of people. How do you think like you said, you had autoimmune disorders,
correct,
right? Autoimmune disorders stem from mental issues?
Even a small headache
okay,
comes from what is it that we have been thinking about. Even a small list of headache.
Okay.
Yeah, so there is a book called The Body Keeps the Score. It is written by Bessel van der Kolk, if I got his name right. So in that, he probably mentions about, how every thought that we have has a psychological impact and a physical stimuli.
Okay.
Yeah, so it is a very interesting book. There are several such books that are written, but this one book is something that I have recently read through the synopsis, etc. And he speaks beautifully about the how a trauma and what happens with the mental health and what happens to the physical well-being, connecting the dots, and has explained. So, be it autoimmune, be it a very small headache, migraine, everything has to do with what is going on in our otherwise chaotic life that we have.
Right. So there's something that we now see an alternative as medicine to, which is Ayurveda or homeopathic.
Yeah.
Right. Do you think those are alternatives, or do you think those are methods that we try and shy away? That okay, we're not having medicine, but we're having Ayurveda. Is that still something that should be taken off, or?
Yeah, see, honestly, they are all part of our culture. It's just that it's given, especially Ayurveda at least,
Right.
all the herbs are part of our culture
Okay.
in some form or other, right? And they, until now, probably they are called as an alternative medicine or, doesn't come in the mainstream medication. But I think their benefits, depending on what a person is going through, where they are, because it is natural herbs and has a lot to do with, natural ingredients in itself, is a lot more better to the body than the otherwise medications that individual puts themselves into. See, I'm not telling that we should not take medication. I'm not a
Yeah.
doctor and
Yeah.
I am no one to talk about it. Depending on what a person's symptom is, they need to go to their doctor,
Yeah.
they get themselves addressed with it, and then be on the right path of healing their
Right.
symptoms. But when they are doing that, how about finding other natural ways? So the homeopathy does wonders. My mom takes,
Yeah.
I take. There are pills in homeopathy where you take one pill and your headache actually subsides.
Yeah.
Right? Ayurveda also, the ingredients that come with it, depending on what body type you have, vata, pitta, the doshas that you have, depending on that, what you take, it does wonders to you. So, yeah, I think it's a mix of the mainstream medication if somebody has to, along with taking care of their overall lifestyle and seeing if alternative approaches can be supported, then
Yeah.
together is what is going to be the game changer.
Okay. So my mom as well, she swears by Ayurveda, and
Yeah.
I just wanted to ask that to know how beneficial it is.
Yeah.
Of course, it's a part of our daily lives
Yeah.
now, and it's something that's come from our ancestors.
Yes.
So it's not harmful.
Yeah, it
Right?
is not. Absolutely. Yeah, yeah.
Great. Just one last thing I would like for all the people watching. What would you say is something they can go and do right now? Like if they're sitting, they're watching this, what would be that call that you would give them or call to action that you would give them that they get up and do something right now or even while sitting?
Physically, if you ask me, I would say go and get some sun. That's
Okay.
not something most of us don't do even till today.
Right.
But if you ask me mentally, if they are watching and someone is going through any issue at this point in time, it is for them to take that instructions that we gave
Right.
about 3 minutes alarm and then understanding where it all started. I think that will do some wonders for them to get started for their well-being.
All right, great. Thank you so much for coming on Ashoka Foundation. We absolutely appreciate what you've done for the community, and we're always looking for people to connect. And you were great. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ashvika. Thanks a
Thank
lot.
you.
Yeah.